Steve Bannon was talking to Pennsylvania gubernatorial candidate Doug Mastriano, who is an election denier, has posted stuff that is very QAnon-y, and is also saying that, Democrats, or we just looked at reporting that behind the scenes, he wants to claim if he loses his gubernatorial race, which he likely is going to Josh Shapiro, because Mastriano is just not running a good campaign, is pretty bonkers, and so he's not doing well in the polling. He's going to claim, it was stolen from me. He's going to claim that it was fraudulent and needs to be challenged. And so it is really scary that this is happening, that this is so common now within the Republican Party. And I don't know how this functions within a democratic process. I've said this a million times, but you can't have a democratic process where one of the sides says, yeah, let's do democracy, but only if we win. Oh, okay. Wait, what? That's not compatible, right? So here's Bannon echoing that idea and talking about how this could all be stolen.
This is just in from John Fetterman. They're reporting this now. John Fetterman's campaign is sending out to reporters in a memo to reporters to buckle up for a long week, saying that the ballot counting process could take, and I quote, several days before the results are made clear. And I want to quote from this memo. This is from Fetterman. We should expect one of the most dramatic shifts in the country from initial GOP support in early results to stronger Democratic gains as more votes are processed. We expect that in-person votes will skew Republican and that mail votes will be skew heavily Democratic, similar to what happened in 2020. So they're playing the same games again, right, of how they stole this in Pennsylvania in 2020. What is your campaign specifically doing to RNC and everybody? We understand we're going to get everybody out to vote, but how does Doug Mastriano and Dr. Oz close this deal?
Yes. Okay. Well, phase one, of course, is having boots on the ground, and we have most polls covered with trained poll workers working.
Okay, so then it goes on to get into nonsense about how it's being prevented. And one of the things we're seeing a lot is followers of these types of individuals intimidating voters at drop boxes and poll places because they're poll watching, some of them armed, and that is very threatening because they're trying to catch people doing fraud. Ooh, it's very, very aggravating there. But that is American politics now. One of the sides is perfectly great with our democratic process and understands that all of the evidence shows it's pretty secure, being the Democratic side. The other one is split between some Republicans who still accept reality and some who are like, nah, if we lose, it's because it was stolen. That is not functional. That is not something that can continue forward and still have our democracy stay alive. And I asked people when I went on the ground at the Pennsylvania rally, Donald Trump's rally there, about this very thing, and they agree with it. It doesn't bother them that their leaders are against democracy because, of course, as y'all know, they believe the same thing. And they think that, of course, Doug Mastriano should challenge the election results. Of course, all of these individuals should claim that the only way the election is fair is if they win, because in their minds it's true. But then when I press them on what is evidence you have to think our election process is so broken that the Democrats are just stealing elections right and left, when every single time it's been investigated, all of the court cases, all of the audits haven't showed that. And it's nothing. It's, oh, well, I saw this video of someone holding a box of ballots. Okay. That happens from time to time in a ballot counting place. They carry boxes of them probably. It is incredibly scary. And Bannon is one of the most radical media figures and has sway in this movement and is conditioning people to believe tomorrow night, if it doesn't go the way we want, it's because it was stolen. And the other thing that Fetterman's warning about, and we've been warning about, and everyone with basic ability to analyze the situation is warning about, is because of the reality right now in regard to politics. It is true that Democrats vote early more and mail-in vote more. while Republicans vote more in person. That is so dramatic now, especially because of the demonizing Republicans have done towards mail-in voting, mail-in ballots, and even early voting. And so it makes sense that Republicans would take the advice of their leaders and go in person, whereas Democrats probably just do it whenever is most convenient for them. And so we are trying to warn people that on election night, votes are going to come in. Oftentimes the election days get counted fastest and first, and that will be reported, and it'll look like Republicans have a huge lead, and then it will shorten, it'll get more close, and possibly Democrats will overcome them, as we saw in 2020 with Joe Biden, because a similar dynamic was playing out. We are looking at that and saying, so just be warned, don't freak out. Initially on election night, let all the proper amounts of votes get counted. A lot of the people on the right are using that as an opportunity to say, okay, if you start seeing later in the night Democrats get more votes counted, it's because they're stealing it and there's big dumps of ballots. No, you can't run an election where the time in which a ballot is counted has to do with the legitimacy of that vote. You have to count all of the votes that were legally and legitimately cast at the correct times and make sure all those are counted to decide what the result is. But they're going to point to that phenomenon as proof that there's fraud when there won't be. Or at least not this huge election stealing narrative they have, not widespread. Of course, every election you'll have some, person who either accidentally or purposefully tries to go and do some sort of voter fraud, but no widespread nature to it and no coordination, this big cabal they talk about. I'm really scared for what's going to happen tomorrow night. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.